Welcome back to my channel. If you honestly believed that the credits rolling at the end of Monday Night Raw signaled the conclusion of this shocking saga, then you have overlooked the most important and most dangerous chapter of the entire story. What played out in front of the cameras was only the surface-level reveal, the moment designed for public consumption. The exposure of Austin Theory as the mystery man was not the finale, it was merely the announcement. The true conspiracy, the one that threatens to completely reshape the future of Raw, was sealed in secrecy backstage, far from the roar of the crowd and the bright arena lights. We now have exclusive insight into a clandestine meeting that occurred just moments after the show went off the air, a meeting involving Austin Theory, Paul Heyman, and the most destructive force in WWE history, Brock Lesnar. This single encounter reframes everything we thought we knew and proves that what we witnessed was not a lone act of ambition, but a carefully orchestrated power play. Before we go any further, make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because what you're about to hear changes the entire narrative of Monday Night Raw. This is the truth about who has really been pulling the strings all along, and you are back at the only source that truly matters for breaking WWE news. It is Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, and the wrestling world is still reeling from the aftershocks of one of the most chaotic episodes of Raw in recent memory. Emotions were raw, alliances were shattered, and legacies were put into question. We watched Seth Rollins stand in the ring looking betrayed, furious, and heartbroken all at once. We saw CM Punk brutalized and physically dismantled by the unstoppable Braun Breaker in a display that sent a chilling message to the locker room. And finally, we saw the hood come off, the secret exposed, and the identity of the Survivor Series mystery man confirmed. Austin Theory stood revealed. Yet for all the shock that moment delivered, it immediately raised an even bigger question that refused to go away. Why was he doing this, and more importantly, was he really acting alone? The answer, as we can now confirm, is an emphatic no. What we are dealing with is not an isolated betrayal, but the opening move in a far more dangerous game. The immediate fallout from Raw focused almost entirely on Seth Rollins, and understandably so. The visionary did not wait long to break his silence, addressing the situation with visible anger and disappointment. In interviews, digital exclusives, and social media posts, Rollins made it clear that he felt personally betrayed by someone he once mentored and believed in. He labeled Austin Theory a coward, accusing him of hiding behind a mask while carrying out attacks on revered legends like Rey Mysterio. Rollins painted a picture of Theory as a young star who had lost his way, someone making reckless choices and forgetting the lessons taught by those who came before him. To Seth Rollins, this was the story of a misguided protege rebelling against his teacher. But here is where Seth Rollins is dangerously mistaken. He is operating with incomplete information, viewing this situation through the lens of personal betrayal rather than strategic warfare. He believes he is dealing with a rebellious student, when in reality that student has graduated into a far more ruthless and elite institution. The real problem is not simply that Austin Theory attacked Rey Mysterio to influence a match. The real problem is identifying who authorized, encouraged, and financed that attack. This was not an impulsive decision made by a hot-headed competitor seeking attention. This was a calculated move, executed with precision, and backed by some of the most powerful minds in WWE history. To truly understand what is unfolding, we have to step away from what the cameras showed and look at what happened behind the scenes, out of sight of the casual audience. After Austin Theory successfully carried out his treacherous assault on Rey Mysterio, ensuring Logan Paul walked away victorious, he made his way through the gorilla position buzzing with adrenaline. He felt invincible. The plan had worked perfectly. The crowd reaction was explosive, the shock factor undeniable, and in his mind, he had just announced himself as a major player. Typically, this would be the moment when producers, officials, and road agents gather around to offer feedback or congratulations. That is not what happened. Instead, Theory stepped into an eerily silent corridor. The hallway had been deliberately cleared, creating an atmosphere that felt less like a celebration and more like a summons. Standing there, waiting patiently, was Paul Heyman. The wise man was not shocked.
He was not confused.
He wore a familiar, unsettling smirk, the expression of someone whose long-term investment had finally paid off. Heyman looked less like a surprised manager and more like a proud architect admiring his completed design. He opened his arms and welcomed Theory not as a reckless upstart, but as a vital piece of something much larger. This was not a coincidence. This was the confirmation that Austin Theory's actions were part of a grander vision, one that had been taking shape for months, if not years. Paul Heyman does nothing without purpose, and he certainly does not align himself with someone unless there is immense potential to exploit. The presence of Brock Lesnar at this secret meeting removed any lingering doubt about the seriousness of this alliance. The Beast incarnate did not need to speak. His mere presence sent a message that echoed louder than words. This was power. This was intimidation. This was the foundation of a new dynasty that now looms over Monday Night Raw like a storm cloud. Austin Theory was not being scolded or advised. He was being inducted. This meeting marked the birth of a super alliance that threatens to dominate the entire brand. With Paul Heyman providing the strategy, Brock Lesnar representing unmatched destruction, and Austin Theory serving as the ambitious, ruthless executioner, Raw has entered a new and terrifying era. This alliance is not built on friendship or loyalty, but on mutual benefit and absolute control. Every move is calculated. Every target is chosen for a reason. And every message is meant to instill fear. This revelation completely alters how we must view Seth Rollins' reaction. His anger, while understandable, is misplaced. He is preparing for a personal confrontation, when what he should be preparing for is a war. The same goes for Rey Mysterio, a legend who has now found himself caught in the crosshairs of forces far more dangerous than a single ambitious superstar. CM Punk, already battered and vulnerable after his encounter with Braun Breaker, may not even realize that he too is part of a much larger plan. The question now is whether these men can set aside their personal grievances and differences long enough to recognize the real threat standing before them. Can Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Rey Mysterio possibly coexist, even temporarily, to challenge this emerging empire led by Heyman, Lesnar, and Theory? Or has Monday Night Raw effectively become the property of the wise man and his chosen enforcers? This is no longer about isolated rivalries or single matches. This is about control of the brand, influence over championship paths, and the rewriting of power structures within WWE. Paul Heyman has a history of aligning himself with generational talents and reshaping entire eras around them. Brock Lesnar has.